Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Sean ustedes bienvenidos a la entrevista. Hoy se encuentra con nosotros el maestro del budismo tibetano, Phakchok Rinpoche. Phakchok Rinpoche es un maestro muy respetado. Él nació en 1981 en su actual reencarnación, pero tiene una larga historia de logros espirituales en 7 reencarnaciones. Ha sido reconocido por los regentes Kagyu y ordenado por su santidad el Dalai Lama. Desde muy temprana edad comenzó el estudio budista bajo la tutela de muchos de los lamas más destacados de nuestro tiempo. Phakchok Rinpoche es maestro del budismo Vajrayana o esotérico en el monasterio de Nanin Shedrup Ling en las afueras de Katmandú, en Nepal. Es director de la Fundación Chogyur Lingpa y realiza varios proyectos educativos tratando de promover la filosofía budista. Vamos a llevar a cabo esta conversación en idioma inglés, que es el idioma que tenemos conjuntamente el maestro y yo, y de manera que usted pueda escucharlo directamente vamos a utilizar una traducción escrita, subtitulada. Phakchok Rinpoche, thank you very much for being with us this evening.
Thank you very much.
Tell us, what is Buddhist philosophy? How does it differ from other philosophers? I once talked to the Dalai Lama who told me that Buddhism is not necessarily a religion, that it can accept every religion. Is that so?
Buddhist teaching is very simple, actually. It's actually based in the mind, and it's very simple because everybody don't want suffering, and who really suffer is the mind. And who wish to be not to suffer is mind. So Buddhist teaching is based on the mind. So Buddha said very clear, he said his own word, should not do physically, verbally, mentally something that harmful others or yourself, and should do something that benefits yourself and others. But then especially Buddha said, tame your mind from negativity emotions, and that is the Buddha Dharma.
Some people who don't know Buddhism believe that the Buddha is a kind of a god, but that's not the case. Am I right?
Yes. In the West, our understanding of God is, in our Buddhist idea of Buddha is different. Reason behind the Buddha we accept as a teacher, because he teaches things make sense, and so he is as a teacher, but he doesn't create the teachings. He said the teaching is the base of the human mind, but he shows what is actually going on. And especially he said very clearly that, for me is very helpful, is he said, do not believe right away what I say. Check, recheck, investigate, like a goldsmith checks gold. And you find it's valid, you find something is meaningful, then you want to practice, you should. But you don't see any valid, you don't see anything valuable, then you should not practice. And that is by the word, by the Buddha himself.
Reincarnation is an integral part of the scheme of thought of Buddhism?
Yes, yes, we do. Because reincarnation is not the physical, they again talk about the mind. Everybody thinks mind is only sort of one, but it is a belief. Buddhism says, you are not one. Now, right now, this moment is already past. Second moment arises, you have different steps, different kind of thoughts arises. So each mind, each thought is a reincarnation of the previous thoughts. So Buddhism says that you see right now the mind produced, it increases a different stream of mind. That means mind must have a part of mind who comes from the mind. So that we talk about mind is very important.
Is Buddhism a way to decipher reality, decipher nature, trying to understand exactly what the world is?
Yes, it's true. And that's why His Holy Dalai Lama and the scientists, for example, like physicists, scientists, they have very thinking is very close to the Buddhist ideas, because the Buddhism idea is to find out the truth, and we know what is the truth.
Has there been more acceptance of Buddhism over the past few years? We know that Buddhism suffered a tremendous blow when China took over Tibet and the Dalai Lama began a different kind of existence. But is there more recognition today of what Buddhism can teach than what we had in the past?
I think what happened is this whatever happened in the past, in 1959, is actually re-helped to the Buddhist idea to not to stay in one place, to go in, because we don't have no choice, you need to go. So actually we taught much more wider audience through this kind of situation happens. So one way is very sad, one way I think is very fortunate.
What do you teach people who tell you, I want to learn Buddhism? What are the basic things that you teach? And I understand that teaching actually can take many, many years. What's the purpose of the teaching? What's the goal of the teaching?
The teaching's the goal is it depends on the individual. But everybody, we have the same goal in our life. We want to live life comfortable, emotionally comfortable, in a different way of comfortableness. So that goal is your goal. And what we teach is...
But you're certainly not a hedonistic cult, or you're not just looking for just physical comfort.
No.
Am I right?
Yes. But that is, we're not going to debate you. We're not going to prove. What we're going to say, you need to find out yourself. But we're going to give you the method. And you need to see yourself. Generally, what we teach public is what kind of emotion you have. What kind of character you have. What kind of person you are. You really want to be happy? And what are you doing is really towards the happiness? Or you're doing something else and you wish to be happy, but you're doing something else that makes you unhappy? To see clear is the teachings of the Buddha.
Do we all have the potential to be happy?
Yes. Because of that reason that Buddhism teaches that every beings, and specific human beings, whatever race there is, whatever culture there is, one thing you have is your mind. And when you mind, you decide your mind. So that's why definitely you have the potential to be happy.
How can one individual attain perfection?
You need to go through a training, different variety of training. For example, like training in compassion, training in being mindfulness, in what you're thinking, what you're saying, and finding out why you're having this problem. And through this process, then we could train you meditation.
Some people face tragedy. Some people lose their children. Some people face tsunamis and earthquakes, and they face real tragedies. We've also encountered, for example, in the 20th century, the Holocaust and slaughter of people by people. How can you tell people under those circumstances that they can find happiness?
First, most important is when the person, they have two kinds of person. The person who like to be a person that like to remind you, yourself, wanting to be more and more suffering. But second kind of person is they know, they see the suffering, and they're wanting to change the suffering. So the both people, Buddhism teaches, saying that are you happy? Whatever happened is happened. But do you really happy? And that unhappiness or happiness, whatever you are now, do you really receiving that you want to be? You want to live life this and you die with that? You decide. Not me to decide you. You need to decide yourself. But Buddhism teaches, interesting part is, 3 years ago, I went to United States in Georgia, in Emory University. And some professors, we have discussions, and they ask me questions. They say, oh, our first world countries, many first world countries, we have mental illness, like depressions and semi-depressions kind of things. And what is actually happening? What do you think about it? He asked me, what is the cause about it? Then I says, thinking too much of yourself. Me. You know, you know, morning wake up, me.
You're learning Spanish?
Yes, a little bit. Yes. So when you wake up, you know, yo, me, you know, everything, every thought, every single is yo, is me. And now they actually did the research. They found semi-depressed and the depressed people, when they recorded their voice and they listen 24 hours, what they say, they usually say 4 times more than normal people. I, me, me, I, me, like that. And they says, oh, Rinpoche, you know, how you know this kind of things? Then I says, 2,600 years ago, the teacher Buddha, he said, when you have too strong focused to yourself, you're going to have much more difficult in your life.
Did you always know what you wanted to do? Did you always know that you wanted to seek perfection, to teach other people? Was that something that you always knew, or there was a time in your life in which you weren't sure of what was going to come in your life?
Of course, I know that in the future I need to go teach, but it's not really like really sure. You know, I have this idea because they chose me from the young.
I know that, yeah.
When I'm 2 years old. But I'm not so confident. It's not so there. It's not real because teaching is not easy. You know, you can't be hypocrite. You know, you teach something people and you don't do yourself. You can't do that. So I went through different variety of training, variety of experiences like anger, emotions, life, thinking, you know. And through the practice, through the way of thinking, and I'm changed. And I'm telling people, I was 7 years ago, I'm very short-tempered, I said. I'm so angry that I punch.
It's hard for me to think of you as short-tempered and punching
definitely.
someone.
Yes, I was that, but not now. And I tell people that, yes, everything is emotion. Everything is emotion, but everything is impermanence. All emotion is impermanence. It changes. You don't have the quality from the beginning. It's change. So definitely you're going to change better. But you need to know how to change. So the Buddhism has a technique, whole series of techniques, of 2,300 years of techniques, how you can change.
Have you found that Mexicans are interested in Buddhism? I know that you've come to Mexico a number of times. Do you find an interest on the part of Mexicans towards Buddhism?
Oh, definitely. Buddhism teachings is very humble, very accepting. We accept any belief in any culture and any religion. So we like to ask questions and debates, but we don't like to say bad things about other faiths and beliefs and cultures.
I remember once I talked to the Dalai Lama and he told me, you know, we respect everyone. I mean, if you're a Catholic, it's great. If you're a Protestant, it's great. If you're a Muslim, that's great. That's not what we're all about. You know, our philosophy can apply to any religion. Is that true? Is that true?
Yes, I think so. People in Asia, they take Buddhism as a religion because they take as a very faithful path. They really believe in. But the real Buddhist teachings is not based on a belief. It's based on a fact. The fact is a certainty. When you're angry, you're going to be unhappy. It's a fact. So that is not belief. You don't need to believe that. It's a fact. So the real Buddhist teachings, the value is the fact. So wherever I go, included Mexico, you know, they do accept, understand the fact. So I just recently, just 3 days ago, I did a retreat training, meditation training retreat for 4 days. You know, so the people are improving, much improving. So it's amazing.
And are there very many Mexicans who are taking an interest on Buddhism?
Yes, I think so. They're very variety people. They have some want to go deeper, some they want to be happy. So we can train different ways, whatever you want. We can train in that issues.
Does Buddhism help you manage your anger?
Yes, definitely. Not only anger, emotions, particular sadness, you know. And I usually tell.
But those emotions are good at the same time. If you never feel anger, if you never feel sadness, you might never be happy.
Happiness is not a feeling. When you have
is it a state of mind?
It's calmness. It's calm mind. That's why I use the word of people wanting to have comfortableness. I don't use happiness. When you have comfortable, happiness is just comes, arises. When you meet a friend, you're happy. But you're not comfortable yourself. Your friend comes, the happiness doesn't increases. So the comfortableness is very important.
Are there any books one can read to have an idea of what Buddhism is, or try to perfect one's behavior? And I'm asking this because, of course, it would be great to have Master Rinpoche teaching us how to control our emotions, but sometimes we don't have that. Are there any books that one can use, or is there any way to do that?
I think definitely right now there are many books in Dalai Lama. Then good to read these books first. Then you want to have more interested, then you should sort of go deeper, you know, and try to find out who's teaching, which master, because you can't learn everything from the books.
That's true. What can we expect in the future for Buddhism? Do you expect Buddhism to maintain its vigor, the vigor that we have right now? Or is the fact that Tibet is now out of reach for many Buddhists a major problem?
I feel in Tibet, right now, yes, it's somehow, some part is very difficult. But some part, they have much more practitioners, meditators. The reason behind is when you grow under difficulties, you want to practice more. So I see like much more. In particular, Pacific, like, and I go to Malaysians, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and many mainland Chinese, they interest in Buddhism. So,
is meditation an integral part of Buddhism? Do you think it's meditation something very important for Buddhism, an integral part?
Yes, it's very important. Meditation is very important, but people don't understand what is the real purpose of meditation.
What is the real purpose?
In the beginning, the meditation, the purpose is to have a master your mind. That is the purpose. I usually tell people that, the Parkinson's disease, that you don't have no control towards your nerve.
Yes.
When you look at your mind, you have a Parkinson's diseases in your mind.
Sometimes most people do, or because we don't control our minds?
Everybody, you cannot control. Situation comes, you become that emotional with the situations. You don't have no conscience to understand how to behave. You just react. You drive a car in Mexico City, somebody shout at you, you're going to shout back. It's very normal. But they have any reason behind shouting back? It's make you, traffic jam less?
No.
Or you be happy? No, but just to react. So
you generate even further risks,
exactly,
more problems.
Exactly. So it's the Parkinson's diseases. I agree that emotion is important, but we have too much emotions, so we don't want that.
But you've said to us a number of times that we have to control emotions. However, I see you smile all the time. I see a very pleasant smile and a very, I know you didn't want to use the word happy, but I see a very happy, comfortable attitude towards life. I mean, that's something you can achieve by eliminating emotions or by just controlling what your mind is doing?
Sorry about using the controlling, because in our meditation training, Buddhism training, we don't like to say controlling.
That's perfect.
We like to say tame, train.
Okay, tame emotions.
Tame, and transform. This is we like to use word. So definitely, like for example, now I'm smiling. Yes, I'm happy. But the key is I'm not attached to the happiness. We don't. I don't want to remind myself not to have too much hope about my smile, about comfortableness. Whenever you have attachment and hope to that comfortableness, and that comfortableness makes you suffer more.
What's happened to you when you personally, when you've suffered a loss, the loss of a relative, the loss of someone you love?
Oh, definitely. That is the whole Buddhist idea. Every day we need to remember, anyone loved one is going to die, and you're going to die. And that's why we see the value of the day by day. We don't imagine, oh yes, because human mind, we like to take for granted. And I do take for granted too. That is very emotional, very sort of a habitual tendency, is habit. But it's taking, that kind of take for granted, it doesn't really make you happy. So every Buddhist trainings, we do that. When I have loss, in the beginning time, I lost my grandfather in 1996. That's very difficult, because I am a practitioner, but I'm not in a deep dive practitioner. So after that, I faced a lot of people who I know who died, and people who my friends who died like that. So I have a compassion. I practice compassion, but at the same time, I don't have no attachment towards the compassion. Then I practice a little bit whatever I can. Then we try to practice how much we can, advise how much we can.
What do you think of life in a monastery? Does it really help you to be comfortable with yourself?
Definitely. It's for example, like you want to have holiday, and many times in the Western culture, and I don't know, in Mexico, you like to go to holidays like Cancun, or I don't know, some places in the beach, wherever you go. Definitely that environment makes you that happiness, the stages, the state of the happiness, helps you by the environment. So monastery is a system that helps you to remind yourself in practice when you really want to practitioner. you want to be practiced. So this monastery is a very good system to be yourself, a little bit more, cautious in mindfulness and a little bit better. Yeah.
Continuamos en la entrevista, estamos conversando con el maestro Phakchok Rinpoche. Él es un maestro budista que se encuentra en nuestro país precisamente para difundir las virtudes de esta filosofía. You've already told us, Master Rinpoche, that Buddhism is not really a religion, not at least in the traditional term. What do you tell someone, for example, here in Mexico, maybe a Catholic person who tells you, I'm interested in Buddhism, but I'm a Catholic and I don't want to stop being a Catholic?
Mm-hmm. Buddhism has a many different way of techniques and advice, and you can improve what the Catholic base in. For example, every religion talk about compassion, and we talk about it. Compassion alone is not a perfect. Compassion need a support. So what kind of support compassion need? Compassion need aspiration. Compassion need a strength, a dignity. Compassion need less judgment. Compassion need skillful means, methods to how to apply. Compassion needs not much hope and compassion. So make a perfect compassion, you need these qualities. In Buddhism we teach very clearly. So you want to perfect compassion, have a faith to your God and Jesus Christ, in compassion, you want to train that, we can help you in the part of compassion. Definitely you have much more, but we can have some other extra sort of spice to make more delicious.
Is it difficult to learn how to meditate?
I don't think so. I think it's really difficult to do things like interviewing, discussion. I feel it's more difficult.
I find it very easy.
It's very good. So the meditation is very, very, very simple too. Because right now you are on stage in focusing what to talk. Your mind completely in the focus state. That is already have the quality of the meditation. That is the quality of the focus.
And when I'm meditating, what happens with me? Do I abstract myself from reality? Do I become oblivious to what's happening around me?
You're keeping your mind as a natural way. So everybody likes now naturals. Organic, earth-loving, happy, natural, So Buddhism talk about it, how to be natural. Unnatural is anger, jealousy, pride. This is unnatural. The real natural is just focus the mind someplace like a breath and just relax with a little bit mind. Don't judge much. Just relax. Just single focus with your breath. That way your mind become calmer. When your mind is calmer, it's clearer. You feel comfortable. You can express real genuine compassion. Express love.
Is vegetarianism an essential part of Buddhism?
In the Buddha's teaching, in the Buddha himself, his teaching is very interesting. He said, whatever gives to you, you should eat. But then he says, we never wanted to be vegetarian because of your compassion. You should be vegetarian. It's very good. But then he says, you want to eat any kind of meat, just go ahead. So he gives 3 ideas. Because he says, everybody has different ideas, different capabilities, different personalities. Buddhism idea is not to make a law that everybody need to follow. He says, I gave these varieties, you just follow different ways, how you practice, what you practice, Of course, vegetarian is very important in Buddhism, but we don't push too hard. We say, but then it's your decision, it's the most.
Phakchok Rinpoche, what would be the most important thing we should know about Buddhist philosophy?
Being comfortable, transforming the emotions, transforming your life, and get a perfection in your life and happiness.
Is that simple?
That is the simple goal, yes.
I do want to thank you, for this conversation, Phakchok Rinpoche.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Yes.
Y a usted, amigo televidente, que hace posible este programa, se lo agradezco también. Eso es todo por hoy, pero no se lo olvide. Nos vemos la próxima.